Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, wherever and whenever you are watching this video. My name is Brian Jeske, and I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of my Music series. This week, in episode number 4, we welcome Houghton Lake-based guitarist and musician Randy Frederick, aka Artificial Marshmallow, to the show. Now, Randy has been playing and writing music in a various number of bands and as a solo artist for almost a decade already. Randy has just taken on the persona of Artificial Marshmallow within the last year, and he has been steadily releasing new music, including original songs such as The Stranger, You Don't Get the Moon Without High Tides, and his newest release, How, available on every streaming platform and YouTube. He also has released various different covers as well, which you can also check out on his YouTube channel and on Spotify. In this episode, Randy and I sit down and we talk a little bit about his creative process, some of his newest releases and new projects, some of his favorite gear, and why he doesn't use an amp anymore. Real quick disclaimer, as always, any opinions that are broadcast on the show are either myself or my guests. This video is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Without further ado, welcome to My Music, Artificial Marshmallow. I want to start by asking you, a question that I'm sure I'm not the only one that's wondering. How'd you come up with the name Artificial Marshmallow?
You are not the only person who's asked me that. So it was about a year ago. I was working with a friend of mine. We'd stop at a gas station every morning, and I'd get the chocolate chip Pop-Tarts because I'm a child. And well, one morning they didn't have them, and I was really kind of heartbroken over it. But he's like, how about these s'mores ones? Eat the s'mores ones. And for some reason, as you know me, Brian, I like to rant about things. I went into a rant about the artificial marshmallow, which is in those s'mores Pop-Tarts. And I said artificial marshmallow probably about 10 or 15 times that morning. And then I was like, man, that has a good ring to it. So then when I kind of ventured on my own to do music, I was like, that's what I'm going to call it. Because it has a ring to it, and it's kind of funny, and it's just kind of, yeah, all right, let's do that.
So you mentioned venturing out on your own. You're a guy who's been in a couple bands. What are some of your other projects that kind of prepped you for kind of launching your own thing?
Yeah, I was in the Farting Butts. And yes, everyone heard that right. Available on Spotify. And then also Mard Oak. I'm still in Mard Oak. And Mard Oak is with two brothers, Scott and Doug Mara. All three of us were in the Farting Butts also. But just with family and COVID, actually, when everyone's just kind of separate from each other, I just thought I have some ideas, and why not try to record them myself. Everything I record is organic. It's all me except for the drums, because I don't belong behind a drum set. You've been recording cover songs and original songs. Let's start by talking some of the cover songs you've done. What are some of your favorite ones that you've done? I know you've shared a lot of them on Spotify and on Facebook and things like that. What was one or two of them that you just either you put in a lot of work or just kind of flowed through, and just a couple of your favorites? My all-time favorites, Come Together, the Beatles cover. That one was just fun. I heard a cover of it by Gary Clark Jr. He did it for the Injustice movie, I think a few years ago. And that just heavy guitar, the bluesy kind of feel to it. And then I didn't steal it, but I kind of took that tone from that one. And I've always loved that guitar or that song. Beatles are my favorite, so I know we'll get to that later. But so I just, Come Together. And then I just released Born to Be Wild here a few days ago on Spotify. So that one's fun too. I kind of go all shreddy on the guitar solo on that one. So
I always try and keep up on what you're sharing and what you're doing. And those are just a couple of them for me too, that I thought you did an excellent job on. You're shifting gears now, and you're doing the cover songs, and that now you're doing original music and that kind of thing. You've put out a couple different songs. I know you've put out Dakota's song, and You Don't Get Moon Without High Tides. That's another good one. That was, I think, might have been the first one you put out here recently. Talk about a couple of them and what your creative process is like. When you're writing, do you write mainly on the guitar? Do the lyrics come to you?
first, or just talk about your writing process a little bit?
With the Moon one, I didn't write those lyrics. A friend of mine did. He was going through some stuff and he sent me some poetry one night and he said, dude, put some music to this. And instantly I got like this minor chord progression. And over time, it just kind of organically evolved into something. With Uncertain and Dakota's song, it was literally something I said in conversation or heard. With Uncertain, I heard something on TV, and that song's about just the world and how it is and how it's been. The first line of that song is the world's crashing down, and there's people all around, like the riots and everything. And so what happens is I get a couple lines, I get my phone out because I don't want to write it down because my handwriting's terrible. And if I have to go back and like try to read that, it's going to be a mess. So I put the little couple lines down. I think about it. I keep putting a little bit more. I want to get like a verse out. And then I take that verse and I go to my guitar and I try to come up with a riff. That's always been my strong point, is making up riffs to ideas. And then from there, I just try to get a chorus out, get a chord progression, and then hopefully 5 minutes later, I have a song. Uncertain was like that. It just kind of was a couple lines and then boom, it was a song. And I'm like, I got to record this. So, and then with the other one, it was a slow process because that one, you don't get the Moon Without High Tides one. I had the lyrics there for like a year and a half. I put out an acoustic version of it, kind of. And then it was funny. I was like trying to come up with the real band version, I guess, of it. And I was like, what would the Red Hot Chili Peppers do? It doesn't sound like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. But when I had that thought, it clicked. And then I was like, all right. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then Dakota's song, I didn't have anything else for Valentine's Day for because of a work situation I was going through. So I figured I'd write her a song. And the inspiration for that came from the song Your Song by Elton John. I was listening to that a lot. And in that, he's just saying, I don't have anything for you but a song. And I was like, man, I want to do that. And it was a conversation with her. And I said a couple lines and I'm like, man, I'm writing you a song. That's what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what I did.
As a songwriter, to you, which is more rewarding, when you write something and it takes you a year, or when you just have it in 10 minutes like that?
Man, I guess more rewarding is the quick ones, but more satisfying it's the long one because it's in the back of your head the whole time. And you're like, I want to get this down, but I don't know what area I need to, go, and I don't even know what path I need to do. But like, I guess they're both rewarding in their own way. But yeah, Uncertain was like weird because I wrote it like January 2nd or 3rd, and then the Capitol thing happened on the 6th. And I was like, whoa, okay. So I actually released it on the 6th with the Capitol thing. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you're recording, what are you using to record? What program are you using to record?
I just switched it all up. I was using an 11 rack processing unit. And then I kind of upgraded. So I have a Scarlett Focusrite interface. I'm going direct in. I'm just using amp sims. I'm so picky on everything and I want different sounds. So I figured I'm just going to get amp sims, and they've come a long way. And then I just got a Lewitt LCT Pro 240, which I'm speaking in right now. So it's all in the box. And then I'm just using Reaper as my DAW. So
what are you changing up what guitars you're using all the time to find the right sound?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite that you just kind of always pick up, or?
Yeah, I have it right here. It's my Aria Pro
Perfect.
2 Fullerton. I got from M55 Music. Not a shameless plug, a good plug. M55 Music in beautiful downtown Houghton Lake. Go see Tom. He's awesome. Yeah, that guitar is amazing. I have other ones too, as you know, but behind me I have a couple other ones. I have a Keith Urban Electric behind me. I have an acoustic. I have a blue Ibanez bass that you might remember.
Yeah,
that,
I
that I've used
remember
on
that one.
that I've used on every single one of those songs. So it holds true. I mean, it's a cheap bass, but for me, I don't care the price tag on something. If it plays good, stays in tune, and it tracks well, that's all that matters to me. Because I've played $1,000 guitars that aren't that great. This Fullerton was $350, and it plays as good as any $1,000 PRS I've played.
So when you're on electric like the Aria, do you live on the bridge pickup, or do you kind of adjust it? I know for me personally, I know when I'm on a Strat style, I'm always in the neck or the neck and middle position. Those are just the sounds that I like. But I know that one's got the humbucker in it, which is a little bit more reasonable when it comes to the Strat style guitar. It's not quite as bright as the single coil in the bridge is.
It depends on what I'm doing. It on a lot of the songs I've stayed on the bridge pickup. It actually splits into a single coil too. So when I'm doing cleans and I want that crispy clean, I'll just pop it up and I'll play it. If I'm doing like on Come Together cover on all the solos, I was using the neck position, just a creamier kind of sound. It depends on what. I like to move. If anybody's ever seen me play guitar, I'm always adjusting something. So I like to just hear the music and what's going on and adjusting from there.
So when you first started learning music and you first started playing, you've been playing for a long time. Did you first start on acoustic guitar, or did you jump right on electric?
I jumped right on electric, which I don't suggest because when you go back to acoustic, the strings are heavier and it's harder. I actually played more riffs and everything before chords for like 4 years. And then I had to kind of revert back to chords and structure of songs and everything. So my suggestion to anybody would be acoustic first. And I wish I would have done acoustic, but I wanted to just be all metal and, heavy distorted guitars. So I was like, I want electric guitar.
You wanted to be a riff lord.
Yeah.
Now when you're writing, are you writing on the electric still? Or are you writing on acoustic and then
Acoustic
working
and
it
then
into electric?
acoustic and then getting into electric. Acoustic's easier because you don't gotta plug anything in. You just grab it and go. I mean, so it's way easier. And then I'm always trying to write a riff I can translate to electric later on if I'm gonna do that. Like with Uncertain, the beginning part I play on electric, but it's like an acoustic part. And then in that song, I'm playing the acoustic. It's in the mix in the background, in the verses and stuff.
So this past year's been difficult for everybody. You've seen to kind of fill that musical void of going out and playing live and that kind of thing with recording your own stuff. Now that everything's kind of getting back to normal, are you excited to get out and start sharing some of the new stuff you've been working on and playing live?
Yeah, I haven't really reached out and tried to get any gigs yet. I'm gonna probably start doing that now that the weather's broken up and everything. Yeah, I've really had a big thought of like I'm on TikTok and doing like live on there, live on Facebook. I know Facebook has rules now against covers for some reason with live something, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. But but yeah, the live streaming thing I think is a positive because you don't have to go anywhere. I mean, getting a reaction from people live is always going to be number one, but in my situation with kids and with everything else and work, it's just kind of easier just to stream something. So that's probably my next goal, is to start doing that. And then if somebody calls me in town saying, hey, can you come play out? I'll be like, yep, I'll be there, because I have all the gear to do it. And so it's a waiting game, really.
That shift to doing more online and virtual concerts and shows and live videos and that kind of thing, that's gotten huge, and I think people have kind of taken it in stride and done some really good things with it. You mentioned TikTok. What are some of the challenges and things like that for a musician like you to keep things going on social media? Is it just keeping content regular? Do you stay on a schedule, or is it just when you're working on something that's done, it gets shipped?
Yeah, it's kind of a random thing. Like on TikTok, I'll just do covers. And on there, it's like the challenge is because the videos are so short, which is an advantage because people's attention spans are really short anymore. But it's also a big challenge because you're trying to get their attention in 30 seconds. So if you're posting an original song, you want to get that snap attention, because if you don't, then you're just going to be at the bottom of the pile. Um, but yeah, social media is great, but it's really hard to keep you have to put content out all the time. You have to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And I think that's where I'm kind of lacking a little bit. But it's a great tool to use, though. I think TikTok is great for musicians. That's one of the best ones. YouTube's good. I just think that people's attention spans aren't what they used to be, and so yeah.
Well, and I think YouTube's kind of at a stage of the game too, where there's so many people doing different things. It's hard to break through and to do something new on there that nobody's done, because there's so
Yeah.
many people that have done it. I know, like Instagram's another one that I personally am more active on. TikTok TikTok is a little difficult for me. I'm still new to that one. I posted a couple things on that one too, but um, yeah, it's I think it's just kind of the name of the game right now, and I think it's great that you're being involved in it and you've kind of embraced it. When I think a lot of people have done that and they've taken steps to move in that direction. You know, what do you think gets a bigger reaction from people when you share it? Your original songs or your cover songs?
My covers, and I think that's just a normal thing. People are always going to go back to what they know, and especially TikTok. I think we're too old for TikTok, actually. That's what I feel like, because the target audience on there is like way younger than we are. But it's cool. It's cool. I had somebody in Chile comment on actually one of my originals, so that was kind of cool. Like, across the world, and he's like, "No, dude, that sounds like Nirvana," and I'm like, "Cool, yep." That's what I was going for.
That's kind of the other really cool thing about that is it opens up your outreach from, the pretty small, you know, homey Houghton Lake, where
Yeah.
there's, a typical audience for a lot of shows and gigs you're going to do. But then when you put it out on something like that, it just explodes and anybody can see it and anybody can watch it. And I think that's just awesome. You've got your favorite electric guitars. Um, you've got, what amp are you running right now?
Amp Sims. I don't actually technically have one. I just had a
Just all amps?
Yeah, I just had a PV6505 MH that I bought, but it was so muddy and I couldn't get a good sound out of it because for my situation, I can't plug it into a cab, mic up a cab, and play it. The only times I have to really record are at night. Having a 10-month-old daughter, not really gonna be able to do that. So everything has to be in the box, and it just didn't sound good. So I resold it on Reverb, and I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna get some of these amp sims, see what they're about, and I got some really, really good sounds out of one I bought. So
When you've got your amp sim, is it modeled after a certain type amp? Is it
yeah,
modeled after a Marshall or Fender or?
yeah, the one I just bought, because usually what happens is you buy it and it comes with a bunch of different things, a bunch of different amps and stuff. Like, so when I bought, I just it's a Marshall 59 or something like that. It's a Fender, like a Fender Reverb, and then it has a Vox sound. So it has a bunch of presets, has a bunch of pedals that come with it. So, and you can dial in a really good tone, and then it has the IR, the the cab sim also, and you can also change the mic placement on that stuff too. So you can get a really good guitar sound out of that stuff.
I've always thought that was kind of cool where it gets that in depth where you can place the microphone in a different spot on the cab or in front of the speaker. It's surprising how much that'll change your sound.
Oh yeah.
So when you open it up and you're picking your amp, do you click on the Marshall more than the Vox or the Fender, or
It depends on what I'm doing. I have a cover that I'm working on right now. It'll be out by the time this video airs. So it's Saturday Night's All Right by Elton John, which I have found out that is way harder to sing than I thought it was. But that one I'm actually using a Marshall sound for. It has like that classic rock sound. One of my favorite tones in the whole world is Tom Scholz's tone from Boston guitar tone. That guitar tone is amazing, and just to get that big arena 70 sound is like what I'm all about anymore. So I got that from that amp sim, and it's gonna sound that part sounds amazing. My voice on that right now does not sound amazing, but we're getting there.
I'll get there and it'll be great. We're looking forward to hearing it when it comes out, as always. You talked a little bit about at least one of your influences there. Who are some other people that have inspired you to pick up the guitar, and who are a couple that have inspired you to keep playing?
The Beatles are number one. If anybody knows me, they know that. They're number one. I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and hearing Rubber Soul and just thinking like, yeah, I don't know what this is, but I love it. And it's always funny because I wanted to be Ringo. I wanted to be a drummer. And I don't belong behind a drum set, like I said. I'm terrible behind that. So, and then when I got older, I'm not out of my metal phase, but I had my metal phase where all the metal guitar players were like gods to me, like Dimebag Darrell and James Hetfield and Dave Mustaine and all those guys. But now that I'm almost 30, I'm back into like the Beatles and like 60s and 70s music more. And the Beatles are like the only thing that I keep listening to, and I just hear different things every time. Especially from John Lennon and George Harrison on the guitar. George Harrison is like so underrated, and their writing style and just the way that they molded music is just is amazing to me. And then they always just keep me going too. Like,
I agree with you on the George Harrison thing. I think he is vastly underrated as a guitar player. So who is, in your opinion, other than George Harrison, who's somebody that you think doesn't get enough notice or recognition as either a guitar player or a songwriter, or both?
Oh man, I can't remember his name right now. Oh, Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, guitar player. He like so underrated. Nobody ever talks about him, and he's like literally what makes that band tick. I feel like Matt Bellamy from Muse kind of gets he's underappreciated too, because he doesn't just play guitar, like he plays piano like crazy mad, and then his songwriting it's out there, but I think he's like very underrated.
Did you take guitar lessons when you were growing up, or did you just all self-taught for the most part, or do you use something like YouTube to learn?
Probably like a mixed bag. Because I was in band in school. I played trumpet, so I already had a musical background, and then I just kind of wanted to play guitar because I thought it was cool and it would get me girls, and it didn't get me girls, but that's how it works. But yeah, so, and then I met some people in high school that played guitar. They taught me some things. And then YouTube became a thing where you could go on there and learn things, and I would learn songs. And then I got older and I met Scott, and his guitar ability is insane. Like, he has his own style, does his own thing, and then he just taught me like a couple little tricks here and there. I remember the one was chord changing, which I used to struggle with, like simple things going from to a C to a G back like to an A, and you just like, oh, just walk to the next chord, just walk your fingers, and it clicked in my brain, and I was like, oh, all right, I got this now. Yeah. So it's just a mixed bag of all that stuff.
So when you're playing in a band with somebody like Scott, and I know in Marduk you're on bass most of the time,
Yep.
or at least you were. When you're playing guitar with somebody like that, how do you look for your own kind of sonic space? Are you playing two totally defined parts? Are you letting him do the main rhythm and you filling in, that kind of thing?
We kind of interweave it because him and I can have a conversation without saying anything. We answer each other's questions with guitar playing. It might sound corny, but it like happens. It's weird. This conversation has happened so many times. Oh, do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. Yep. All right, good. And then we do it, and then it just sounds like what it did in our heads. So it's just like we click that way. So I always try to play the bass like a guitar, but if he plays bass, it's the same thing. So, and how he writes guitar riffs are a lot like bass riffs. So when we are creating music together, it just kind of interweaves with each other, and it sounds amazing. I don't know why it does, because there's like 50 notes going on at any given time, but it sounds great.
That gelling and meshing with your band is a big underrated thing. If you can have that kind of rapport with somebody, that makes all the difference in the world when you're playing. Do you, with your, you mentioned one of your upcoming releases you've got coming on the way, it'll probably be out before then. Is there anything else you got on the burner right now that you're trying to work through and trying to get ready to be released?
I have a couple originals. I have 3 originals set to come out this summer. 2 of them I already actually released first. One's called The Stranger, and the other one was called Infamy. And then I found out what the word infamy means, and I kind of felt stupid after that, because I thought it just meant some like creating something great, and no, it doesn't. It's not a good thing. So I unreleased that song and I rewrote it. And then The Stranger is going to be basically the same as it was, but it's going to be recorded better because I didn't know what I was doing. I literally I didn't have a job there for I felt like a few months. I was on YouTube the whole time learning how to record. So I've only been able to like really record myself, like mixing and everything, for a few months. The Stranger I wrote really quickly, and I put it out there, and I thought, oh man, this sounds amazing. And then I listened to it now and I'm like, no. So I'm re-releasing that one, that other song and then another song called How, and that one's actually going to be a lot slower. I might actually get some piano player in there and stuff like that. So that's going to be like a really slow song. That's about,
Cool.
I'm not a spiritual person, but it's about kind of spiritual awakening and kind of asking what to ask and how to ask the right questions and try to get that path in life. That's a deep one, definitely.
Right on. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I always look forward to when you're releasing new stuff. With that being said, now let's transition into more of a rapid fire question and answer kind of thing here to finish up. I'll ask you a question. You just say the first thing that pops your mind. If you want to elaborate, you can. If you don't want to elaborate, you're also welcome to do that too.
All right.
So first question is, how many guitars do you own?
14. 8 are playable. Yeah.
I mean, that counts.
Yeah. I mean, they're called guitars, I guess.
Who is your biggest guitar hero?
It's gonna be a tie between George Harrison and Eddie Van Halen, just based off the stuff I write.
All right. We'll allow a tie. What is one piece of gear you sold that you wish you had back?
Big Muff Germanium pedal. Don't know why I sold it because I couldn't get a metal tone out of a Big Muff, which you can, technically speaking, but I don't know. It was so, yeah. It's one thing I'm just like, man, I wish I wouldn't have got rid of that.
What is your desert island gear rig, one guitar, one amp, one pedal.
Fender Telecaster, like a 60s, into a Marshall JCM 800, probably with like a Boss delay pedal in front of it.
What is an album or a song that you listen to and that was your aha moment for music?
Abbey Road by the Beatles. I remember listening to Rubber Soul when I was 5. I remember that, but I was 5. I mean, Abbey Road by the Beatles, front to back, that album is amazing. And when I first heard it, when I was, remember hearing it, I was probably like 11 or 12. And I was like, yeah, this is it right here.
If you could collaborate with any living artist, who would it be?
Dave Grohl, because he just seems like one of us.
What was your most memorable live show moment?
Oh man.
Good or bad?
I didn't wrap the instrument cable around the strap, plugged into the bass. I let it hang there. Lo and behold, turn around, step on the cord, out come from the bass. Had to bend over, pick it up off the stage, plug it back in. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Who is an artist, a singer, a songwriter, or a guitarist that you just do not like?
One person.
That you don't care for.
Just one person?
Just one person or one band or songwriter. I'll let you take your pick on one.
One band, Five Finger Death Punch. They are the Monster Energy Punisher tattoo lifted truck band that I just cannot stand. And yes, I meant to rhyme on that one.
One last question for you. What is your dream live performance venue? If you could play anywhere at some point in your career, where would it be?
Probably like Comerica Park, because that stadium is beautiful. I saw Metallica there. That was pretty sweet. The stadium is beautiful. Yeah, probably just Comerica Park.
Well, that'll do it for the rapid fire questions. Go ahead and tell people where they can find you on social media, on Facebook and TikTok and that kind of thing. Go ahead and take it away.
It's all Artificial Marshmallow. No, I have artificialmarshmallow.com, which I sell t-shirts and now coffee cups and probably a bunch of other stuff here soon. TikTok /Artificial Marshmallow, Spotify Artificial Marshmallow, YouTube Artificial Marshmallow, and at some point probably Twitch and probably Instagram too. You can't Google me and find me that easily yet, but you can ask Alexa to play me and she will do it. But you have to say Artificial Marshmallow because there's that marshmallow guy out there and everyone loves him. So
Yep. That does it for episode number 4 of My Music. I want to say thank you again to Randy for agreeing to come on and talking a little bit about himself as a musician, as a creator. And I just want to again extend my gratitude to all of the viewers who have made this show wildly popular in my eyes than I ever imagined it would be. Be sure you tune in next week for episode number 5 of My Music, where I welcome Grand Rapids singer-songwriter, musician, and frontman of the American Hotel System, Jacob Betts, to the show. I look forward to sharing that episode with you. My name is Brian Jeske. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of My Music. As always, you can click the subscribe button below if you want to see more videos like this. You can hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. Give it the thumbs down if you didn't like it. And until next time, I'll see you soon.